Welcome to Thriving Relationships. This is Jessica Hartley, and we are here live at the KHTS studio in beautiful downtown Santa Clarita every Wednesday at 2 p.m. on AM 1220 and 98.1 FM. You can listen live from Facebook Live or by downloading the KHTS app to your smartphone. I'm Jessica Hartley, your host, relationship coach, and founder of the legendary Love program. So today, we're going to talk all about the trademarks of thriving relationships. What is it exactly that these relationships that have got it right are doing, and how can we use that to identify where some of the holes or weak points are in our own relationship and where those areas are that we can strengthen them so that we can thrive in solid, lasting love, because that is our intentions. So what I would like to do is also have a really honest conversation around what love really is, because so much of the conflict and the reasons why we leave love or we give up on it has to do with the perception or the facade that we have about love, about what it really is. And so I'm going to just start off talking about where we got this perception and what exactly the real love is behind the relationships that are thriving. So many people feel like they go into love thinking that it's going to be easy, blissful, joyful, happy the entire time. But that's not what real love is about. And we think that we know exactly what we're doing when we go into it. But the truth is that we also don't really know. And part of love and relationship and marriage and commitment is really about stepping into learning how to love, learning how to be successful in relationship. We do that while we're in it. It's sort of a dive in and figure it out along the way kind of approach. And while we're in that zone, while we're in that journey of love, sometimes we're going to be able to celebrate the greatness in our partner, the greatness in ourselves, and the greatness of the union. And sometimes we're going to come face to face with some of the biggest, most painful conflicts that we could ever face in our life. But the thing is that love, as I define it, is really about shared experience. And in that shared experience, we're going to be able to enjoy the best of each other and the best of what we can bring together and create together. And it's also about sticking through the worst of each other and the worst that we create together, because we do also do both. It's like a yin and a yang. And love encompasses both sides of that. It is not just one side and not the other. It's about sticking through those conflicts and also using those conflicts for growth, both on a personal level and also growing together as a couple. So to me, that's what thriving love really is. And it has little to do with just the good stuff. You know, that's only half of it. The other part of the equation is the hard stuff, the vulnerable stuff, the stuff that makes you feel like you want to leave. That's all part of it too. And it's about really using the relationship for bringing the best of ourselves forward, not just for me, not just for my partner's life, not just for the union that we create together, but also as the model that we set for other people around us. And the biggest influence that we have being a good model of relationship is for our children. You know, our children are always watching us and they're learning how to love. And if we don't get this right now, then they're going to have to figure it out and go through that hardship and do that in their life. And if they don't do it in their life, then their children are not going to do it either. And so at some point, we have to take responsibility for where we are and how strongly we want to change and create a better influence on the lives of our children and also the people around us. So I'm sure that you know people in your life that are good role models of love that you know. And there's also people in your life that have perhaps been bad role models of love. And so you're looking for good models of love out in your life. And the more that you can learn from these models and integrate them into your own relationship, the happier and more successful in love that you will be. So the thing is that how we are in relationship has a lot to do with the models that we were given. So if you did not have a great model of love, togetherness, companionship, being able to work through the conflicts in your life as a child, then it's likely that you won't know exactly what to do in a relationship as an adult. And you're going to have a harder time. And that's just a reality that is worth facing, because when you can face that, then you can get a little humble and realize that there are areas for growth for you that relationship will offer to you. Relationship is like a mirror. Whatever you see going on inside of your partner, inside of what they are doing, inside of what they are saying or their behaviors that you don't like, is a reflection of some of the things inside of you that you don't like, or that were perhaps wounds or holes from when you were a child growing up. So being able to use the relationship to advance your own personal growth is essential, because that is at the core what it's really, really about. The truth is that nobody wants to be alone. As much as we think we have a variety of options, and as soon as there's a conflict, we can just get out and go find another relationship. The truth is that until we get it within ourselves that relationship and love is not about leaving when it gets hard. It's about sticking through those hard points and finding the ways and the models of success that allow you to become successful yourself. And so that when you are experiencing an achievement in your life, you have someone next to you to share it with. You know, so many relationships that I see out there that are failing are just butting up against the conflicts. And because they don't have the tools to navigate those conflicts become bigger and bigger and bigger until one just breaks, is the straw on the camel's back and just breaks it. And then they start all over again. And then what are they going to do? The next relationship comes and it's going to be the same pattern. The person's face will change, but eventually you're going to see the person's humanity behind everything that you fell in love with them. When we fall in love with the best of that person. We fall in love with our own best of ourselves and the best of that person coming together. The greatness in them, the greatness in the union. But as we move through relationship, then we get to see and understand the humanity of that person, where there are flaws in this person, and also where my flaws are coming out too. And so when we just leave once those flaws start coming out, we're not going to be successful. It's so imperative that we stick through those tough times and that we allow ourselves to use those tough times, those conflicts, for our growth, because it's not possible to escape flaws or conflict in relationship. You cannot avoid it. You're going to be bringing all of your stuff and putting it on the table, and they're going to be bringing all of their stuff and putting it on the table. And then you guys are going to have to use the love and the union to sort through it, to heal the wounds that are there, to face some of the triggers, and to grow together. And this is part of love. It's part of relationship, and it's part of growth. And it is so worth it. As hard as it can be sometimes, being able to work through these things are exactly what the power of love is all about. The power of love is all about being able to be loved just as you are, for who you are, despite your greatness, despite your flaws, and to be able to be accepted, seen, and exist in a world where you are good, where you're good enough. You know, a lot of times we come to relationship and we have this idea that my partner is going to fill in the gaps or the holes of my childhood wounds. And that when they don't fill in those gaps, if we're not aware of the growth opportunity that is presented here, then what we will do is what we saw our parents do. We will do what we saw our models do, which will be things like nagging, demanding, yelling, criticizing, putting pressure on your partner, begging, pleading, using guilt trips, and manipulating them so that they will be able to be what you need them to be so that you can fill the wounds and the holes that you have in your life so that you can be happy. See, we will try everything that we know to do to have them fill those holes for us instead of taking responsibility for those holes that we gain from early childhood or trauma or insecurities or some of our fears. Instead of taking responsibility for those and healing them ourselves. And that's really what, where the growth piece is in the thriving relationships. And that's hard work sometimes. It's very courageous work, and it's very humbling at times. It takes a lot of self-reflection. It takes a lot of patience and understanding and forgiveness. Next week, we're going to talk about revolutionizing forgiveness, actually. And this is going to be a really great talk as well. But, you know, so it's like we want to feel loved, good enough, accepted, validated, happy. And when we expect our partner to act or behave in certain ways so that we can feel that, that is when we create a codependent relationship and things start going south. They start going into that downward spiral. And so relationship will help you grow when you notice that you're looking for those things outside of yourself and you're trying to get your needs filled outside of yourself in your partner, in what they say or do. And when you notice yourself getting controlling or manipulating or nagging or begging or pleading or doing any of that stuff, you're outside of yourself. You've already lost your ground. You've already lost your integrity. And you're not acting from the strength and the power that you really are, the confidence of who you are and what you have to offer. So right after the break, we're going to go ahead and dive right into what those exact trademarks are of thriving relationships. I'm going to identify a few key examples of what they look like and where we can start to focus on rebuilding the strength of our love and the depth of our love for a lasting and solid marriage. We'll be right back. This is Thriving Relationships with Jessica Hartley.
Pure Birth's Pregnancy and Wellness is Santa Clarita's newest birth center, offering holistic prenatal care, water births, labor and delivery, and postpartum care. Owned and operated by California Medical Board licensed midwife Tiffany Gallo, who has been serving expected families in the SCV for over a decade. Pure Births is also a Medi-Cal birth center. If you want to experience a natural birth with the freedom to birth your way in a safe and professional environment, contact Pure Births on Tournament Road near McBean, purebirths.com.
When you feel like you're at the end of your rope, tie a knot and hold on, because a quality relationship will bring the most meaning to your life. No matter how hard it feels right now, this is your opportunity to grow every part of who you are and bring the best of what you've got to the table. No one wants to spend their life alone. Make this one count. It takes effort and dedication, but you're capable. Visit jessicahartley.com/program.
again, are you feeling tired, stressed, or just don't have the energy you used to? Did you know this could be related to decreased testosterone levels? Luckily, there's a safe, effective solution. Weeder Prime helps support healthy testosterone levels with clinically tested key ingredients. Just 2 capsules of Weeder Prime each day can help change your mood, energy, focus, body fat, and lean muscle. Feel the way you felt 10, 20, even 30 years ago. Rediscover your Prime with Weeder Prime. To find a retailer near you, visit WeederPrime.com. That's WEIDER Prime.com.
My tile is 20 years old, and it makes my house look 20 years old.
For quality custom kitchen, bath, and tile, trust the professionals at Southern California Tile.
Hi, I'm Cheryl, owner of Southern California Tile and Home Center, and I invite you to come look at the wide selection of tile in our store. I offer you personalized one-on-one service and help you see the many beautiful possibilities for improving your home.
Get some style at Southern California Tile.
In Placerita, by the entrance to Masters College.
It's no secret that heavy-duty cleaning chemicals can be toxic for babies, pets, and even adults. Eco Green Clean SEV can put your worries at ease. Eco Green Clean SEV only uses organic, environmentally friendly products, reducing the risk of health issues for any age. Eco Green Cleaners use essential oils that lend to aromatherapeutic benefits. Eco Cleaners are reliable, thorough, and all cleanings are guaranteed. You even get an organic chocolate on your pillow. Local owned and operated by a single mom who started this organic business 5 years ago.
For more information or to book a cleaning, call 993-9136.
Your hometown station.
As soon as I leave my house in Saugus, I always turn on KHTS for the latest traffic updates.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Welcome back to Thriving Relationships. This is Jessica Hartley, and we're talking today all about the trademarks of thriving relationships. So the very first thing that is key in a thriving relationship is their ability to resolve conflicts, right? Because this is the epitome of what creates all of the disconnection. And to be able to maintain a thriving relationship, you have to have a strong ability to maintain that connection despite the conflicts. So one of those things that is a key piece is the ability of not taking things personally. There is a book called The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, and this is where I first heard of this concept. And it's one of the agreements that he presents in this book. And it's all about not taking what the other person is saying or doing to mean anything true about what you've got going on inside of you. So you have to remember that, because it can be so hard in the moment when your partner is perhaps disappointed in you or telling you about everything you're doing wrong, or even criticizing or judging or doing all of these things. You have to hold up. It's a two-way mirror. So whatever is coming out of you, it's like this is a mirror of reflection back onto you, and whatever's coming out of your partner is a mirror reflecting back onto them. And so you have to separate whatever that is and use a filter, a conscious filter of what's coming forward, to be able to not take it personally. And that's a skill that is definitely, absolutely essential in a thriving relationship. And it takes some reworking and rewiring of the way that we've been conditioned, because so often we've been conditioned to take personally what the people that we love the most think about us. Because we have so far in our lives defined our worth and our value by that. So we end up taking things very personally and feeling not good enough whenever we feel those things coming at us. But we have to remember that's absolutely a separate thing, and we have to keep that about them and not about us, and not about what we're bringing to the table or what we have going on. At the same time, I also want to say that when your partner is bringing something to the table, and perhaps they are yelling or criticizing or just sharing a repeated disappointment, whatever it is, that if you feel like what they're doing is disrespectful, it is also important to say, hey, darling, dearest, I see that you are triggered or upset right now. And I know that you don't mean to attack me, but can you take some space, or can we take some space so that you can calm down and I can calm down and we can come back and address this and deal with this from a place of seeing the best in each other. That's a really great way to set a sort of boundary and address whatever they're doing negatively or whatever they're doing that is unthoughtful. A way to address that without attacking and getting defensive and getting triggered yourself. Because once you start feeling the upset rising inside of you, then you start to go right into your own fight or flight, and then you start attacking too. So it ends up being usually where if you don't have this awareness or these skills, then your partner is triggered and they're blaming you, and then you start joining them on their level by going into your own triggers and your own wounds, and then you start blaming them, and then you just have two walls and two fingers pointed at the other person, and it's absolutely ineffective and will only get you more and more disconnected. So another way to set another boundary that I want to offer you guys is to say something like, hey, I see that you're upset, but it's not okay to yell at me, to criticize me, or whatever it is that they're doing. And then to follow that with, I love you, and we'll move through this, we'll figure this out. If you can really own a statement like that when those triggers are coming from your partner, and they will, then you can almost instantly change their disposition and their energy with what they're coming at you from, and they will drop back down into their heart and calm down, and they'll see the value of what you are saying because you see the value in them. So another thing that's important is being able to release your big emotions when you're triggered yourself effectively and not lash out onto your partner. So here's another opportunity for growth. When I'm triggered, I cannot give my partner all of my pain because these are my wounds from my early experiences. These are my insecurities. These are my fears. These are my, my holes, my wounds. And I'm expecting my partner to fill them. And so when they don't, then I get triggered. But it's not my partner's job to heal my wounds, to take care of my emotions. It's my job to do that. So another skill in a thriving relationship is being able to release any big emotions, any strong or fueled, fiery, negative feelings effectively. And what I mean by effectively means not lashing out onto your partner. So there are different ways that we can lash out onto our partner. We either do it verbally, emotionally, or physically. And so just notice when we're trying to lash out, and instead of doing that, just stop. You've got to be able to stop yourself and release that emotion effectively. Don't push it down and just try to ignore it or sweep it to the side and ignore it like it didn't matter to you. If it matters to you, it does need to be let go of. You do have to release that emotion, or else it'll just build and build and build, and your shoulders will have huge chips on them. And you're going to just build resentment. So you have to be able to really release that big emotion, but you have to do it in an effective way. And that's another skill that thriving relationships have. Another skill then is to always see the best in your partner. This is a skill of friendship, of connection. And that's why it is so important that friendship is an element in a relationship. You can't just have it one-sided where it's all passion and love and physical intimacy and no friendship. You have to have the friendship too, because the friendship comes in when it gets tough. Think about the way that you are with your girlfriends or guy friends. When they make a mistake, do you care so much? Do you see past whatever behavior they're doing and see the best in them no matter what? Do you forgive them a lot easier? Do you maybe encourage them and uplift them to see a better perspective? And this is how we are meant to be with our partner. And the only reason why we don't treat our partner with great friendship and seeing the best in them is because we expect our partner to fill our holes, our insecurities, our fears, our wounds from childhood. And we've got to let go of that. A skill, another trademark of a thriving relationship, is taking ownership for those wounds and being able to go in and heal them. To say, this is my childhood wound, and thanks for reflecting it back to me, because if I didn't have you there, I would not see that it's a childhood wound that I need to grow from. So thanks for that. And now I need to do this internal work to really fill that hole. So for example, if you did not feel good enough in some way when you were growing up and as a childhood, in your childhood, you're going to expect your partner to in some way prove that you are good enough, in some way validate you, in some way you're going to need them to fill that hole, and so it's as if you need to have them sort of plug those holes from your childhood, and then they can't let go, because if they let go, then you'll feel not good enough again. And that is absolutely destructive to the relationship, because you're not allowing them to be free to be human and make mistakes too, and to, have responsibility for themselves, because you're giving them all the responsibility for you. And that it just doesn't thrive that way. You're not free either when you do that, because then they are going to expect the same out of you. And so you're going to have this huge clash of expectations. And every time that you have that expectation, you've just got to keep cutting that cord and letting go, and then taking responsibility. You want to feel that wound. You want to heal that place inside of you. But it's not your partner's job to do that. That is your job. So being able to take ownership and responsibility for that, take responsibility for your own happiness that comes from within you, take responsibility for meeting your needs, comes from within you, take responsibility for healing your wounds. That's got to come from within you too. And so when your partner starts to push your buttons, this is your opportunity to say, oh, there's my button or wound or trigger. You can call it different things, but the button, like when they push a button on you, that means you, me, I have a wound I need to heal. And so our partners will really help us in being able to see where those buttons are. So the skill or the trademark is being able to take personal responsibility for those, for your happiness, for healing your wounds, and for all of the needs that you are wanting, that you go in thinking. It's like so many relationships go into the relationship thinking that the partner is going to heal all of that and give all of that to us. And then, now we can be soft and cozy and complete. But the truth is that we have to complete ourselves within ourselves. That as we enter into this journey of relationship, it is our work, not their work, to fill our own holes and those gaps, and to really allow ourselves to grow. And this is where the personal growth component is. And then when I step into a better version of myself, then I reflect that back to my partner. And then my partner will be inspired and uplifted by a change in the way that I'm no longer expecting things, a change in the way that I'm giving love freely without strings attached. And that will have a huge influence on them and their own personal growth. And this is one of the key ways at which we can heal our relationships when they're broken, when they're suffering, when they're damaged, with just one person. You know, because one person is really all it takes. It just takes one person being that bigger person, or the one that's more in touch with their nurturing, emotional, empathetic capacity, seeing the best in the other person. Whoever's stronger in those areas is the person that will have the biggest influence at changing the whole dynamic of the relationship around. So we can have a huge influence on our partner through that. So those are some of the ways that we can resolve conflict and also heal our wounds. Also, forgiving ourselves when we're judging is another trademark. So we're sometimes going to judge. You know, it's almost it is a natural thing, and it is useful. Judgment is useful for us at times, but at other times it's absolutely destructive to us. And in those areas, it's when we are judging another person as right or wrong. Because when we do that, then we go into defense, then we go into protection, then we go into all of these things that we create. Our responses and our actions are done out of fear rather than love. And so judgment and being able to really forgive our own judgments so that we can show up with the strength of who we are, and so that we can show up in our own power, is very big. Being able to consistently hold ourselves accountable to letting go of those judgments. Another thing is to be able to, whenever we want to create change, a thriving relationship will start in their own domain. Instead of pointing the finger and noticing the 3 fingers pointed back to you, you'll say, oh, I have 3 fingers pointed back to me, which means that, you know, I have an opportunity to become better in this realm and step into being the model for my partner, or the model for the other person, and for the exchange of love that I would like to see. You know, so it goes both ways. If I want to receive love, then I've got to be the model of giving it freely. You know, and so I've got an opportunity here to step into that in a greater, stronger way. Usually, well, absolutely, by being filled from within, so that you're not expecting anything in return. And whenever we point our finger at our partner and we see something that we don't like, it usually is a projection or a reflection of what we don't like about ourselves. Things that are vulnerable or uncomfortable, or maybe one of those holes that we have within ourselves. So that trademark of these thriving relationships is being able to take that responsibility and start in our own domain to be the model of that change instead of expecting it first from the partner. Another example then is to notice. So to be able to notice, to honor, and to adore the greatness in your partner, because when you see the good in them, you uplift them powerfully. You influence them powerfully into stepping into that place where they know that of themselves, and they want to rise up to that too. And so you've got to notice it and honor it and adore it and tell them about it, all the greatness that they are. And at the same time, you have to be also willing to accept the humanity that they are, meaning the flaws that come behind that greatness. We all have flaws, and we're never going to be unflawed. No matter how much work that you do, you're always going to have more growth opportunity for yourself, because that's part of what we're doing here. It's part of our natural tendency of life is growth, expansion, upliftment. So when you can step into a perception of your partner where you can both honor and adore the greatness in them, and also accept the flaws and the humanity of them. That is a skill and a trademark of a thriving relationship. Another one is to remain open-hearted and open-minded, and also not just on one side, not just mental or logical, or not just emotional and empathetic, but both, to be able to have a balance of an open heart and an open mind. You know, sometimes we go through life and we think that we've figured things out, and so we've closed doors, or perhaps we've had some hard knocks in life, and so we've closed walls around our heart or certain experiences. And when we have those closed walls, we're really closing and boxing ourselves in. We're not allowing ourselves to be free. And so that's what it is when we say freedom in a relationship. It's me having the ability to be free, to be exactly who I am, in my integrity, in my self-honor, in my confidence, in my beauty, in all my greatness, and also in my flaws and in my humanity, and to just be free, and to also allow that of our partners, you know, and that when you're in a thriving relationship, that exists. It coexists because we are being the best of ourselves. Another trademark is that when you're in a thriving relationship, you're all in. You're not going to leave as soon as things start getting hard. That is, it's almost like you've got to rewire that, because we have this perception of reality that is like, oh, we've got lots of variety out there. I could always find someone else, you know. But it's like you'll never find someone if you have that perception of reality, because you're just going to keep restarting and restarting and restarting. It's like one of the analogies that I use with my clients is that we're going to be climbing a mountain, and it's going to be a beautiful, sacred mountain of growth and possibility and love, really understanding the depth of love that is available to you and all around you. And it's going to be hard sometimes. Sometimes you'll fall. Sometimes you'll even slide down a few notches. But you just dust yourself off, you get back up, and you keep going up that mountain, because it is worth it. At the top, you're going to feel so fulfilled. So you're going to have the energy of love inside of you just coming through you and spreading itself onto your partner and your children and the world around you. And then when you get to that place, then you'll start growing even more. And it's a beautiful journey. And the more you step into unconditional love, meaning being able to see those flaws and move past them, not judging something as right or wrong, not taking things personally, and really always having your partner's back. You know, it's another trademark, is that a thriving relationship will always have the partner's back because they see the best in them. Even when the worst of them sometimes comes out, they'll see the best in them, and they'll act from that place, and they won't be triggered, because they know that they're coming from a good place and they have good intentions, despite what the behavior or the words look like on the outside. So being able to see that is huge. Looking out for their best outcomes, you know, providing a safe hub of nurturing and support, because again, so when we all have flaws, you think about it this way: if you have a child growing new into the world, the best outcome for that child's well-being is a safe and supportive and a nurturing environment for that child to grow into the best of who they can become. If there's shaming going on, if there's judgment going on, if their physical safety is threatened, they're not going to grow into a child, a person, an adult with groundedness. They're going to be very weak. They're going to have more flaws. And so the same goes for your partner. When you enter into relationship and commitment with your partner, essentially what you're doing is you're saying, hey, I'm going to be this safe hub of nurturing for you to provide the best outcomes for you in your life. Because our growth is not done when we're an adult. It's a different kind of growth into the capacity of, in relationship, into the capacity and the depth and the power of great love. And so if we can offer that kind of environment, then we will be so much better for them. Okay, so confidence in yourself is important in trademark in relationship. Also, being able to easily communicate the things that are important to you, having an ability to do that. So be able to say something to your partner and knowing how to say it in a way where it's respectful and where they won't get triggered and where they will hear you and receive your thoughts well. And you can have influence and create something new together. Also, being the ability to maintain long-term passion and desire. You know, so it's not always just about friendship, but it's also the other side of that too, which is the intimate connection. And there's a thriving relationship knows how to maintain that over time. Not just in the beginning when it's easy, but over time. And you know, so you guys, all of these trademarks take effort and dedication. They're not things that just come easy, but they come with great, great reward for yourself, for your partner, for your children, and for the world. So we're going to go ahead and take another quick break, and we'll be right back. This is Thriving Relationships, and you're listening to Jessica Hartley.
Do you ever listen, but you're not really paying attention? Sort of like what you're doing to me right now. This is Alex Urbina, your advanced life coach specialist. One of the most frequent questions I hear is, what is a life coach? Well, tune in every Friday at noon to learn the value of having a coach and listen to a live coaching session on the radio. Right here on your hometown station, KHTS.
The truth is, my marriage license didn't come with any training for success, and the constant conflict just pushed us further away. But I'm here as proof. If you've lost intimacy, you can rebuild it. If there's too much pain, you can heal it. You don't have to break up your family when it gets hard. Learn the 6 essential elements to create a successful relationship. The legendary love program has been healing relationships from the brink of divorce all over Santa Clarita. Learn more at jessicahartley.com/program.
Pure Birth's Pregnancy and Wellness is Santa Clarita's newest birth center, offering holistic prenatal care, water births, labor and delivery, and postpartum care. Owned and operated by California Medical Board licensed midwife Tiffany Gallo, who has been serving expected families in the SCV for over a decade. Pure Births is also a Medi-Cal birth center. If you want to experience a natural birth with the freedom to birth your way in a safe and professional environment, contact Pure Births on Tournament Road near McBean, purebirths.com.
It's Consumers Furniture's President's Day sale. We are Santa Clarita's largest furniture store, and this weekend everything is 25% off our already low prices or finance for 24 months interest-free. All bedrooms, dining rooms, living rooms, and more is 25% off. Come in and see all the new merchandise and special floor sample closeouts we have for our largest sale of the year. Consumers Furniture is located in the Center Point Shopping Center below Sam's Club and Walmart.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Welcome back to Thriving Relationships. This is Jessica Hartley, and we are live at the KHTS studio talking all about what the trademarks of thriving relationships are. And so we've talked about how one of the key trademarks here is to be able to resolve conflict respectfully every time that there is conflict, and to be all in. We also talked about being able to take responsibility for the wounds and the stuff that we bring into the relationship, to take responsibility for our own happiness, for our own needs, for our wounds that we've brought in, and to use the relationship as a mirror in order to notice where those things are and to then go in and heal them. Another trademark is that there's solidarity and strength of friendship, connection, trust, and loyalty. And these are things that are built in the relationship. Another trademark then is being able to maintain long-term passion and desire in the relationship. It's sort of the other side of the friendship dynamic and the connection dynamic. And both are very important. A trademark of having personal self-confidence, integrity, and self-honor. You know, being able to be free to be exactly who you are, and then to also have that environment of safety and nurturing so that you can step more and more fully into the depth of your confidence, the depth of the freedom of who you are, and the freedom of being able to be seen for the greatness that you bring and also for the humanity that you bring. We also talked about easy communication. So this is the power of influence, being able to say what is important to you without triggering your partner, without feeling like you can't speak your voice, being able to be an influence and to create together, and also being able to really have a consistent place of growth, to use a relationship for the greatness and to stick through those harder points and to use it for growth. So these are things that don't come naturally, especially when we have not had an ideal model of love to follow, especially in those hard times, especially when our partner is triggered and then those triggers trigger us and we start moving into this negative downward spiral. So in order to really step into the best of who we are and to create the best, most rewarding relationship possible, we have to take stock of some of these things. Where are you? Where are you at in those things? Do you judge, or do you forgive your own judgments? Do you take things personally? Do you make your partner responsible to fill your wounds and holes of your life? Do you expect them to make you happy? Do you uplift them? Do they uplift you? Is there an exchange or an environment of support and nurturing and always having each other's back? Is there play, fun, and flirting going on? Is there passion? Is there desire and intimacy and physical connection that's alive and active throughout the length of your marriage? Is there a deep friendship at the core as well? So take stock of these things and notice where you have to improve. Because once you notice those things, then you have the opportunity to reach out for help. You know, one of the things that I offer is the Legendary Love Program. And this is set up to walk you step by step through the elements of thriving relationships, exactly what it takes. And it's not enough to just understand what these elements are. You have to be able to rewire and recondition the ways that you have been doing it over time. You know, consider how old you are now. You've had that many years of conditioning in the opposite direction, and you can change it. You just need structure for that. And that's what the program is all about. It gives you tools, structure, step-by-step approach to help you shift those things so that you can bring the best of yourself, for your relationship, for your world. Another thing that I'm going to be offering very soon and very excited about is the workshop. I'm partnering with one of the local yoga studios in town, and this is called the Sacred Feminine in Love. So there's a lot of differences between men and women, and the women have so much power of empathy and understanding and strength of influence that we have to offer into the relationship. Our natural capacity as women is about growth and about togetherness. And we are more inclined than men to have these qualities. And we can influence men to come in and touch into these qualities too. Because no matter if you're masculine or feminine, we each have both parts in ourselves. And our best self comes forward when we can integrate these parts and grow in each of these parts, in the masculine and in the feminine. And the feminine is the one that has the strength there. So in the Facebook Live, we'll have a link to that workshop. It's a one-day workshop. I'm super excited about that. We're going to do a bit of yoga, a bit of guided meditation with it, and it's going to be very, very moving. We also offer, I also offer deep healing sessions, which are really focused at healing those deep wounds. So whatever those wounds are, once you notice them coming up, it's up to you to heal them. And one of the things that I pride myself in is this ability to be able to help someone through a deep wound and to really heal that place so that you can move forward with an entirely different perspective. So that's another great opportunity that you have the option to take advantage of. So thank you guys so much for listening to the show today. Next week, we're talking all about forgiveness, self-forgiveness, and what that looks like, and how we can revolutionize it. Because the way that we've been conditioned to think about forgiveness is actually flawed. It doesn't work with a thriving model of relationship. So we're going to talk all about that. I'm going to have a lovely friend on, and we're going to chat all about that. So thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next week at 2 p.m. This is Jessica Hartley, and you're listening to Thriving Relationships.